Do you know that as society progresses, people's sense of compassion is diminishing? Humanity is gradually fading away. Here's a story of a case where the police worked tirelessly for a year to solve it. There were no leads, no clues, and no evidence. However, the innovative ideas used in the investigation demonstrated that if the police are determined, they can even find a criminal hidden in the deepest corners. Hello friends, how are you all doing? Today, we will discuss the Ekta Deshwal case. This story begins in the Meerut district of Uttar Pradesh, specifically in the Dorala Tehsil. In this tehsil lies a village called Lohia. The date was June 13, 2019, around midday. A villager named Ishwar Pandit, also known as Suresh, was walking through the village fields when he noticed a dog carrying something in its mouth. Suresh found it odd and approached the dog to see what it was carrying. To his horror, it was a human arm. The stray dog was roaming the fields with a decomposed human arm. Alarmed, Suresh called out to other villagers working nearby and immediately informed the police. Upon receiving the report, the Dorala police arrived at the scene. A crowd had already gathered, shocked by what they saw. The arm seemed to have been dug up by the dog, as it was covered in soil and partially decomposed. The possibility of the dog digging up a grave and bringing the arm was chilling. The police began investigating the surrounding fields and sent a team to check the local graveyard. They suspected that if the dog had dug up the arm, other body parts might be nearby. As they searched, they found something alarming near the edge of a sugarcane field other parts of the body. Dogs are known for their sharp sense of smell, and it seemed a dog had detected the scent and tried to dig it up before fleeing due to the presence of people. The police continued their investigation, expanding their search to find the rest of the body and, most importantly, the missing head, which was crucial for identification. Excavation workers were brought in, and the site was dug further. What they discovered confirmed their worst fears: a decapitated and partially clothed body was buried there. The torso was missing both arms, and the body appeared to belong to a young woman. The body and the recovered arm were sent for post-mortem examination. It was determined that the body belonged to a young woman aged between 19 and 25. Her arms and head had been severed with a sharp weapon. Since the body was found in a sugarcane field, the police traced the ownership of the field to a man named Shaqib Ahmed, a neighbor of Suresh, the man who found the arm. The police questioned Shaqib and his family, but they had no idea who had buried the body in their field. The case became increasingly complicated due to the lack of leads or identification of the victim. The police expanded their search, questioning locals in not only Lohia village, but also surrounding villages within a 7 to 8 kilometers radius, asking if any young women were missing or had recently died. During the post-mortem, an important clue was discovered. The severed arm had a tattoo with the name Aman inscribed on it. This raised further questions. Who was Aman? Was Aman a man or a woman? And what was their connection to the victim? Despite the lack of immediate answers, the investigation pressed on, fueled by these intriguing leads. The story reflects both the challenges of the case and the perseverance of the police in uncovering the truth behind this gruesome mystery. They were inquiring about a boy named Aman, wondering if anyone with that name lived in the village. However, no substantial leads were found. The police tried their best, but no young girl from any village in the area was reported missing. It was evident that this was a murder case, and someone had killed the girl. The area's SSP Senior Superintendent of Police took the case very seriously. Records from the district and state crime record bureaus were checked to see if any missing person reports for a girl had been filed recently, but nothing concrete was found. The SSP and his team had to investigate the case from every angle. Who could have murdered the girl, and why? What was the motive? The police investigated homes with ongoing property disputes, as many murder cases stem from such conflicts. Although there were some property disputes in the area, no young girl was missing from any of those families, and no boy named Aman was found in those households. The murder didn't seem to be related to property disputes. Given the girl's age, it appeared to be a matter of love, perhaps involving a breakup or an argument about marriage. The police considered whether the girl might have been in love with someone named Aman, but no such connection surfaced in the village. The love angle didn't seem to hold up either. The possibility of robbery was also ruled out. If robbers had killed the girl, they would have stolen her belongings and fled. If she resisted, they might have killed her and run off. However, her body was found buried underground. The corpse had a severed head and arms, indicating that the perpetrator wanted to make identification impossible. The police found a tattoo with the name Aman on one of her arms. To prevent anyone from identifying her through the tattoo, the arm had been buried separately. The police considered these findings in their investigation, suspecting a connection to love or infatuation. Despite exhaustive efforts, the police couldn't uncover much. Days passed, and the unidentified body was kept at the hospital. When no one came forward to claim it, the police performed the last rites, preserving some samples for potential future investigation. Months went by, but the girl's identity remained a mystery. The police decided to explore a new angle, investigating young men from Lohia village and surrounding areas who were working elsewhere. They began compiling a list of young men, noting their occupations, locations, and contact details. This tedious process yielded a long list of individuals scattered across Haryana, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, and Delhi. The police also checked missing complaints from these areas, focusing on girls aged 20-25. They examined the frequency of calls these young men made to their families, their phone numbers, and the states where their SIM cards were registered. The police began questioning these young men one by one. They also checked missing person reports at various police stations. By June 2019, when the woman's headless and dismembered body was found, the investigation had already begun. Now, in May 2020, a breakthrough occurred. In Ludhiana, Punjab, the police team discovered 20 missing cases, including 2 involving girls named Ekta. Both cases were reported from different locations, but were registered at the Modi Nagar police station. Further investigation revealed one of the girls, Ekta Deshwal, had been reported missing in May 2019. Her parents claimed she had run away with a boy named Aman, taking 15 tolas of gold jewelry and rupee 144,000 in cash, totaling rupee 25 lakh in valuables. Ekta's mother said Aman had cast a spell on her daughter, making her rebel against her family. Despite repeated calls, Ekta did not answer, and Aman also stopped responding after being threatened by her mother. The tattoo on the dismembered arm bearing the name Aman reminded the police of Ekta's case. They took DNA samples from Ekta's mother and compared them with the preserved samples from the body. The results were a 100% match, confirming the body was that of Ekta Deshwal. When informed, Ekta's parents were initially in disbelief, insisting she couldn't be their daughter. However, the DNA evidence left no doubt. The police continued their investigation and found that Aman, a resident of Lohia village, was involved in her murder. He wasn't alone. His father, brother, sister-in-law, and 2 friends were also implicated, making a total of 6 accomplices. Under pressure, Aman confessed. He explained how he had dropped out of school after the 10th grade and moved to Ludhiana for work. There, he worked as a helper at a shop selling items believed to have magical powers, such as charms and talismans. Ekta, originally from Channer village in Dera Tehsil, Kangra district, Himachal Pradesh, frequently moved between her uncle's house in Himachal and her parents' residence in Modi Nagar, Ludhiana. She was pursuing a BCom degree at Khalsa College in Ludhiana and worked part-time in event management. In some places, it is mentioned that she started developing an allergy to something. She saw an ad in the newspaper. This ad was for a place where Aman was present. If we see Ekta had some issues, perhaps an allergy, she should have informed her parents about it, and they might have taken her to a good doctor. However, instead, she went to a shop after seeing an ad in the newspaper. This is where Aman and Ekta met for the first time. According to Ekta's uncle, Aman used to sell goods near the Ludhiana bus stand. Ekta, for some event-related work, used to visit there frequently. Gradually, their paths crossed again, and they became friends. They started following each other on social media, where their conversations also began. Over time, they fell in love. Ekta used to make excuses about college to meet Aman. Initially, her parents didn't suspect anything, but when they found out about Aman, they called Ekta home. At home, they noticed that Aman wore a sacred thread kalawa on his wrist. Ekta's parents didn't like him because he was neither well-educated nor properly employed. He wasn't settled in life, which is why they didn't accept him. However, Ekta was so blinded by her love for Aman that she didn't listen to her parents and kept meeting him. She even got Aman's name tattooed on both her hands permanently. She then stole 15 tolas of gold and some cash from her home and went to her uncle's house in Himachal Pradesh. Her parents had no idea that their daughter had stolen valuables and cash worth lakhs and left home. They thought she was angry with them and had gone to her uncle's place because of Aman. After staying at her uncle's house for a day or two, Ekta returned to Ludhiana but didn't go back home. Instead, she went straight to Aman. Both of them then ran away to Karnal. Aman had been staying with someone he knew in Ludhiana, but due to a dispute, he had to leave. Aman and Ekta started living in Karnal, where they began practicing occult rituals. Ekta had stolen jewelry worth rupee 25 lakh from her home. After staying there for a while, Aman took Ekta to Meerut in Uttar Pradesh, where they stayed in a rented house in the Darala police station area. They lived happily there for about a month. During this time, Ekta told Aman that she wanted to meet his parents, seek their blessings, and then get married. Aman agreed. On Eid, which fell on June 5, 2019, Aman took Ekta to his house in Lohia. Ekta met everyone there, but seeing their lifestyle, appearance, and behavior, she was shocked. The person she fell in love with, whose name she had tattooed, and for whom she betrayed her parents, wasn't even Aman. His real name was Mohammad Shaqib Ahmed. Shaqib had hidden his identity and pretended to love her. Furious and heartbroken, Ekta confronted Shaqib about his deception. They argued all day. On the night of June 5th, at around 9 p.m., Shaqib decided to kill Ekta. He involved his entire family in the plan: his father Mustaqim, brother Muzarat, sister-in-law Ismat, a relative Rishma, and a friend from the village. Together, they plotted the murder. Shaqib took Ekta out to drink a cold beverage, which he had already laced with sedatives. After consuming it, Ekta fell unconscious. They took her to a sugarcane field, where Shaqib used a sharp weapon to slit her throat, causing her death. To prevent anyone from identifying her, they stripped her of her clothes, severed her head, and cut off both her hands to erase the tattoos. They buried her body in the field, while the head and hands were disposed of elsewhere. After committing the crime, Shaqib returned to Ludhiana, and the rest of the family resumed their normal routines as if nothing had happened. The case came to light only on June 13, 2019, when a dog was seen roaming in the field with a human hand. The police, after a year-long investigation, solved the case. They recovered Ekta's phone, jewelry, and the murder weapons, including the shovel used to bury her. During the investigation, Shaqib tried to escape by snatching a constable's gun and shooting him. The police surrounded him and captured him after he was shot 3 times. Both Shaqib and the constable were hospitalized. Although the main accused, Shaqib, and his family were arrested, they were later released on bail by the High Court between 2020 and 2021 due to a lack of concrete evidence. As of now, the case is ongoing in the Sessions Court.